have some bad news. I want to tell you all. I have chronic heart rejection, and I won't be here for as long as I thought. But I want to say, this has been an awesome ride, and I have no regrets. Live life to the fullest, because you never know what's going to happen.
Welcome to The Edge, and Cameron James Miller is the father of the very well-known Shaun Miller, who was a young boy, shook the world from the age of 13 to 17 in an unusual way. And that's what we'll talk about here. As I quoted to you a couple of quotes, I will quote them again from Mark Twain, which speaks to the kind of life, in the short life your son had, really kind of comes to fruit and grows in the people of mind. Fruit is something that grows later on and is something you pluck and reach for. And the fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. And that speaks to your son. Kindness is a language. Pardon? Is that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep, 100%. Yep.
Kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Now those are Mark Twain quotes. They're not my quotes. But the point is,
Yes.
we are what we do in life, ultimately. And we live our life to the fullest, and your son seems to have gained that acknowledgement. I was going to go to the point about what some of the quotes that your son has spoken to in such a beautiful way. At the age of 13, he began this venture on the internet and developed such a following, a powerful following of believers, that at his death, he had 1,000 people at the funeral. Is that right?
Yeah, 2000, yeah, 2000. Yeah.
Right. So he left a legacy at a very young age. His power.
He did.
So when you do that, you're truly remarkable. It's a loss that people don't know how to deal with, but want to recover. Or support or repeat and model after, and that's what your son has done. And he says,
Absolutely.
I hate to leave you. Hey guys, bad news. Chronic heart rejection. Awesome ride. I will miss you. Footprints on your hearts. I already had 2 hearts. How many more? And so that set of statements spoke to his character. He loved what he was doing, and he loved the people he was relating to, and they loved him. It's been shown. So now you're adding to the ride that your son left for you to carry forward. So I have to ask you a little bit about the foundation. When did that come about?
Well, I was sort of working out what I was going to do in my life, and I went to bed one night, believe it or not, and I've always said this about Shaun. Shaun was always a boss and a leader, and I went to bed in 2016, June 2016, and Shaun came to me in a dream. He goes, I want you to start a foundation in my name, Dad. And that was it. And I woke up the next day, and I put the wheels in motion, so to speak.
So you believe that he came to you in a dream, and so he's never left you. So you're sort of speaking in his behalf at this time through the foundation. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes. And the other reason we started the foundation, because basically what Shaun was born with was called childhood congenital heart disease,
Pardon me?
And childhood congenital heart disease, it's called CHD. And CHD is one of the biggest killer of kids around the world.
So this is one of the largest killers of children.
That's why I started it.
So you wanted to create a fund to help people in the same situation? We're losing it again.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
You wanted to help other children and parents who had a child like your son? Is that what you?
Yes, basically yes.
So do people come to you then for help, or how does that work out?
Help other children. Or basically we're involved with a place called the Victor Chang Institute. They're looking for the cure for the disease.
Mm-hmm.
And our plan, our long-term plan, is to build houses, short-term housing for parents of lost children, and continue to look for a cure for the disease. That's our mission.
So you're basically subsidizing people with housing so they don't have the full burden of surviving all the cost. Now, does the healthcare system in Australia, what does that do in this situation?
This will all be privatised, and the reason why the movie's being made is a lot of the profits will be going into this housing, because when a child dies, parents are so grief-stricken, they've got nowhere to go, and I realise that from personal experience, and that's why we've decided to do the housing.
Well, my question really is it, what part does healthcare in Australia of any value in this situation or not?
Not for this. No. This will be privatised.
No, I understood that this is going to be totally privatized. Why would you not bother using the healthcare system of Australia at all?
No, I won't be using any of that. No.
Is it not sufficient?
No.
Is it an insufficient?
This will be basically a private enterprise.
Yeah.
And it'll be through the foundation.
So the ordinary person that doesn't come to you for help for this situation is stuck with the Australian healthcare system. Is that right?
Yeah. Look, the good thing about the foundation is it's fully tax deductible. So when people make donations to the foundation, it's fully tax deductible for them as well. So before COVID-19 hit, we were going to start building our first house, but that's been put on hold because of COVID-19 at the moment. But that's okay. We'll come back.
But for people who don't have any money and don't maybe know about you, and they should maybe, they obviously should, and they go to, what do they do in the Australian healthcare system?
Yep.
Now, what is it they do? What would someone do not knowing about your foundation and all of that? What would they know?
Or they can just go to our website. They can go to our website and learn all about us. If they want to know more information, the ShaunMillerFoundation.org. We've got a website there if you want to learn a lot more about what we do.
But they have to know about you first. Do you guys have any relationship? Does your foundation at all have a relationship with the Australian healthcare system in terms of letting people as a?
No, we don't.
So they won't refer people to you as someone.
No.
So you're strictly hoping that somebody goes on the internet and finds out.
Well, basically, and that's also the reason we're also doing the movie for awareness, to bring attention to all this sort of stuff as well.
So it's promotion.
Yeah. But as I said, with our board, we've got a team of people who will get ready to start building the house this year, but COVID-19 hit it and froze our plans, so to speak.
So when your son was 13, and he started to get on the internet, when did you realize what he was? When was the first time you realized what he had done or what he was doing?
Well, the first time he really got on the internet, I had a woman called Sandra from Alabama contact me, and she just lost her son Nathan in his 20s, and she said, I'm not in a good way, And I said, look, I'll put you on to the boss, because I called Shaun the boss. And Shaun spoke to this lady for 16 months. And later she confessed to me that Shaun helped her stopping committing suicide. He used to talk to her every day after school, and he stopped her committing suicide. And to this day, she tells me that if it wasn't for him, she would have committed suicide.
And how old was he at that? Was he 14 at the time?
He was 13 years old. He was 13 years
13.
old, and he was waiting for his second heart transplant.
Wow. So he had his first heart transplant, and he was how old? At
8 years old. Eight.
At 8.
That's the moment that Shaun talks about his epiphany. I'll tell you exactly what happened there. About 3 weeks before, Shaun had an operation called a Fontan to try solve the heart problem, and basically it didn't work. And we're in McDonald's, and he threw up all this blood, and he goes, Dad, I'm not right. So I rushed him upstairs, and they said he's going into heart failure, and he's only got 48 hours to live. When it came to about the 40-hour period, I went outside in the pouring rain, and I got down on my hands and knees, and I said, if there's a God out there, please help my son. I went back in 5 minutes later, and Shaun was in a trance, and he was talking to something on the roof, and he had his hands over his eyes like the sunlight, and I had my lips to his lips trying to hear, and I couldn't hear. And he spoke to this person for 15 minutes, and looking back at it, I believe this person told Shaun was going to die young anyway. But he said to me, he woke up really excited, and he said, Dad, I've just gone through a bright light, and an old man told me to go away, and I've got work to do, and be positive in life, and you're going to get a new heart. 5 minutes later, the doctor walked in and said, we've got a heart for your son.
So that it becomes a bit of a miracle moment.
Well, Shaun calls it his epiphany.
He called it what?
It's his epiphany.
He said, I am a piece of meat? That's
No,
what
he said, that's my...
Epiphany. I beg your pardon. I misunderstood.
Yes.
Epiphany.
Yes.
So it was a revelation, a spiritual experience, a wonderment, a true wonderment. Well, that's...
And I witnessed it, and it was incredible to witness it.
So he had a fixed gaze at something that riveted him and held him in place where he couldn't ignore it.
That's right.
And then it came through within moments that he was rewarded for the faith, or whatever you want to call it, by someone saying, and who was it that came up and said, you got a new heart? Who did that?
That was the doctor.
So
That was the doctor.
So that would have been through the federal government at that point, or that was private?
Yes, that was through the government. But usually you don't get a heart in 48 hours.
Right.
You get a heart maybe 6 months, 2 years, 3 years. So I didn't hold much hope.
Right.
Really, because you don't get an organ in 48 hours.
Well, he was young, 8 years old, so sometimes
Yes.
the younger you are, the more chance you're going to get a body part like that. So
Yes.
He then, from 8 years to 13, 5 more years, he grew into doing things on the internet. When was the second heart awarded to him?
That was 13 years old.
When he was 13.
13 years old.
So he was already on the internet at that point then.
Yes, that's when he started writing his book, An Awesome Ride, which went on to become a New York award-winning book.
So he wrote that book. He's the writer.
Started writing a book.
Sean's the writer of the book, An Awesome Ride. Is that right?
Yes.
So-
Yes, he wrote the first book, which is called An Awesome Ride, and that was from his words. And he said to me at 13 years old, I want to write a book. I just want to tell people about my short life and about living life to the fullest.
Well, that speaks to something greater than most people come across much much older in life, much later in life.
Yes,
So
that's right.
So he's made a believer out of you, that's for sure.
Well, Shaun had 1,000 operations from his birth until 17. So he went through a lot, and he handled it incredibly.
Well, you know, the support you've given him obviously contributed to his ability to trust that he could go further than most people think they can go. That's
Yes.
pretty remarkable. The foundation began at what particular point in time?
It was born in 2017.
So after he died.
He died in May 26, 2012.
Oh, I might got my dates
Yes.
wrong. I was thinking
That's right.
he was 17 years old. I got
17 years old.
that's where my mistake
He
was.
only just really had his 17. He was born the 23rd of January.
Right.
And he died May 26, 2012.
Yeah, right. And so in the 4 years he gained the notoriety or the experience of so many
Yes.
people coming around his ideas. What was when he did his internet connections? What would you say he was most noted for? What people remember about him the most?
His empathy of others.
And how did he express that? In what way?
He had a wisdom. That was really hard to describe. You know, I remember a lady contacted us from America, and you know, because he wanted to always tour America and talk about his story, and he goes, "I'd love to bring you out, and meet you," and she said, I can't, Shaun, I'm disabled. He goes, "Yes, but your heart's not disabled."
Mm-hmm.
So that's the sort of person Shaun was.
Did he since he wrote the book?
He gave a lot of himself.
So the awesome ride is what he experienced.
That's right.
And what
Yes.
was what particular? I have not read the book. I have to tell you, but if you were to?
Yeah, sorry.
if-
With the awesome ride, he called it the awesome ride because he'd been through a lot of ups and downs. Shaun also suffered domestic abuse at the hands of his stepfather.
Or you're not
Which
not.
he talks about in the book as well.
So are you a second stepfather or the first father?
No, I'm his biological father. I'm his biological father.
Oh.
But Shaun lived with his mother before he came to live with me because we were estranged when Shaun was young.
I see. I see.
Yeah, so Shaun came to live. I was always in his life, but Shaun came to live with me at 13 years old. After he got assaulted by his stepfather.
Assaulted in what way?
Strangled. And you know, Shaun was I remember Shaun got interviewed. This is how brave Shaun is. He got interviewed by the police, and they said to Shaun, "Do you know the difference between lying and telling the truth?" And Shaun said, "I would not perjure myself." They just looked at me and they go, "Where did you get that from?" I go, "Didn't get it from me, that's for sure." So he was very wise. He was very wise with his words and his understanding.
Well, he must have impressed the police for them to remark. They probably assumed at his age he wouldn't know what perjury
No.
amounted to. Right.
That's right, because he spent most of his life in hospital, in and out. Didn't do a lot of schooling and stuff, but he was very. His IQ was very high, and he was just very smart, and you know, he's a very humble boy, and he'd give a lot of people a lot of their time, and he'd always talk about life with people. And as he got older, he got even more wiser about talking to people about life.
Well, when you are under constant threat of your life ending, with your heart being
Yes.
in the bargain, then I would say you do probably have no choice but to make a perspective about life itself. And when you do that,
That's right.
it has to strike home. So
Yes.
he escaped the clutches of a stepfather, and you became the welcoming father, the true father,
Yes.
the biological father as well. Now,
Yes.
there's maybe I'm mistaken, but is he a namesake and a soccer player? Is there a namesake out? Or is that just
No.
that's a coincidence?
Yeah, that's a coincidence. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I saw there's a soccer player who's a striker, and
Yep.
similar name. So no,
Yep.
just
That's my book there. That's the book I wrote.
oh yeah, please show
That's
that.
the book. That's the book, An Awesome Ride. And
Right.
It's got two books in one. It's got An Awesome Ride, Shaun's book, and it's got my book called Through a Father's Eyes.
Uh-huh.
So that at the moment it's been released in Australia and New Zealand, and we're looking at releasing.
What is the
we're
price?
looking at releasing it in America this year, because of COVID-19 things shut down a bit. So that's
Is
that's okay.
is that a hardcover or is that a soft cover?
No, hardback.
Uh-huh. And that run
Hardback.
and that over the internet that runs how much?
On the internet, you can. I think online copy you can get it cheap. I think it's around about hardback around about $20 or something. But you know, it's quite well worth it considering.
Right.
It's got two books in one as
Well,
well.
hardcovers are meant to be on. Hardcovers are meant. Hardcover books are meant to be on the book on your
Yeah,
bookshelf.
Shaun wrote his book called An Awesome Ride,
Right.
which became a New York award-winning book, and that was released in December 2012.
Right.
And then I was approached by Penguin Books to write my side of the story, which is Through a Father's Eyes.
So for the people who can't pay $20, there is a soft cover as well, and that runs about what, 5 or 10?
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I wasn't sure about writing this book because it was very emotional writing it, as well, because you know Shaun died in my arms as well, and you know I had a very hard journey. Once after Shaun passed away, I didn't deal with it really well. So I spoke about my journey after Shaun passed away.
Are you going to go on a book tour yourself?
I will eventually. Yes. I'm looking for. I was going to go to America this year and tour America because lots of people all over the world want to know about Shaun's story, and my plan is now I do public speaking and you know as well, and I love the public speaking, talk about Shaun's story, and there's so many, and you know now we've got a movie in the works as well about his life, so it's just incredible everything that's happened.
Well, Australia's got a share of actors, quite a few, and it's not unusual.
Yep.
So is there anybody in particular that's interested in promoting your film? As actors?
Yeah, there's an Australian actor called Shane Jacobson who wants to play me. He's an Australian actor, and a kid called Levi. Funny enough, his name's Miller. A kid called Levi Miller, who was in a film called Oprah Winfrey, wants to play Shaun. So, but we're just waiting for the studio to give us the go ahead on what they want and all this sort of stuff.
So is there if you had your choice of actors to play in this film, who would you have a favorite Australian actor yourself that you would want to?
Look, I like Shane. I like Shane Jacobson because he understands about CHD, and I've already met him, and he seems really nice and humbled, and that's someone that would probably be perfect to play me. And funny enough, we look nearly exactly the same as well.
Wow, that couldn't be more convenient than that.
If you go and Google Shane Jacobson,
right,
you'll be able to see.
So well, I think we're winding down to about all the questions I've got. I think that I was not aware of your situation. I think you've got a remarkable son, probably a prophet before his time, if you will, a philosopher before his time.
Yeah.
Would that
My
care?
father goodbye was incredible, and how many people it has helped. That was played on the Dr. Phil show in 2018. They used, I didn't even know this, but people all over the world wrote in the most inspirational videos on the internet, and 6 people were chosen, and Shaun was one of them, and I didn't know this. And they played his video, My Final Goodbye, on the Dr. Phil show, 2018.
Well, I envy Dr. Phil for having that technology. That would have been wonderful to have part of this introduction.
Yes.
I really wish that were possible. But
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, when Shaun put the video on my phone of the buy on YouTube, it just went. I couldn't believe how viral it went. You know, it's he had 100,000 views in 4 hours, and you know, by 5-6 days later, there was 1.3 million. Now it's been seen by over 7 million people, and it's helped countless suicides. I've had people contact me saying that his videos helped them and helped their depression, and it's just been incredible. The ongoing help that this video's done, my final goodbye, and
people are really hungry. The general public is hungry for something genuine in life.
Yes.
They're tired of the slick and the slime, and there is a real need out there in the general public for this sort of thing. To watch someone at the point of death at that age, and then to realize that life matters, would certainly help people in an economic bad situation,
Yes.
or in a depression for sure. So
absolutely.
that's what you're realizing.
He said something to me as well.
Yeah. So it's an honor to meet you, Cameron. I appreciate the opportunity to interview you. I've done probably 500 interviews in my time on regular television.
Yes.
So but this is a very unusual interview for me, and I'm grateful for you to give us your time. It's
That's
early.
okay.
It's early in the morning there, so you had to give us your personal time when you do that. So that's a real honor for you to do that for us. So we're new in this business of YouTube. Our show is only about 2 months old, and we're approaching 10,000 viewers in a relatively short time. So you're giving us this opportunity to be part of what you're doing, especially with your son's background here. I really, social compassion, social empathy, which is what you're saying he's about, which he obviously was, or he wouldn't have connected with so many people, is absolutely a tribute of an unusual kind, and of an awesome nature that you're talking about. Totally true, totally true. You're a great father to...
Yeah, look, amazing. And, after he passed away, some amazing things happened after that too as well.
Well, I want to thank you for myself and for Alex, who helped set this up, my technician here.
That's okay.
And yes, I will toast you with an imaginary glass. A glass of ice, a splash of lemon, and a bigger splash of Clorox in honor of our president. You got it.
And as I said,
There's the book, An Awesome Ride.
Check out the book. If you get a chance, check out the book, An Awesome Ride Through a Father's Eyes.
Yes, we will.
ShaunMillerFoundation.com.
What's that again?
ShaunMillerFoundation.com.
ShaunMillerFoundation.com. We will post that.
.org.
.org. Oh, okay. Not
Yes.
.com.
Yes.
.org. Yeah.
Yes.
So, thank you, and maybe we can do this again if that's not too much to ask.
Absolutely. Or hopefully next time I'm in America, we can catch up in person.
That, I'd love to do that for sure. Shaun,
Alright,
thank
no
you so
worries.
much.
Alright, you take care, guys.
All right.
Shaun, it's an honor. Thank you from everything, man. Thank you for everything. It's an honor, man. Thank you for your story, sir.
That's all right. That's
You're an
okay.
inspiration. Shaun is
All right,
inspiration.
thanks very much.
Thank you. God bless, mate. God bless.
See you later.
Cheers. Cheers.
Bye.